Okay, we're now reporting that Steven Stevens took his own life. Shortly after he was spotted at McDonald's, he tried to run and then he stopped and took his own life. We're going to show you a couple videos on that, but one thing I want to brush up on, MSM, mainstream media, is going to try to go attack Facebook and everything. And I want people to understand things. As soon as you put a video up, it might take 2 or 3 hours before the first person sees your video. Unlike YouTube, as soon as you post a video, somebody already viewed it at YouTube. So YouTube, as soon as you put your video up, somebody's already looking at it. But unlike Facebook, nobody's seen the video for a couple hours, and then as soon as somebody's seen it, they did flag it. Now, MSM is going to say, oh, they should have took it down. They should have took it down. Okay, let me tell you guys something. When a video comes up, you can't take it down automatically. Because if it's like this murder, if you take it down and you destroy evidence, that is a crime. Facebook could have got sued for damaging evidence. That's the reason why it takes us several times. Takes a few hours to bring something down. Okay, now Facebook should have where it cannot be shown to the public, which is, you get a black screen saying it's temporarily out of order, but the video and everything that's going on it is still saved for the police to get copies of it to use it as evidence. Anything that goes up on social media is evidence. So you can't just take down a video and destroy it like that. What you can do is you can block it from the public. And then call your local law enforcement on what they should do about it. A lot of times the cops will ask for several copies of the video so they can use it at their police department and then send copies to the FBI and the U.S. Marshals. This is a way to preserve the evidence so that it could be used in court later. You just can't just cut off a thing and say, we're just going to destroy everything. No. Any type of a crime that is posted on social media is evidence. Okay. So what do we do if we see something like this? Should we shut it down? No. We can block it from the public viewing, but still leave up his account so he thinks people are looking at it. This way, he will post more videos to his website for the police to use. If he posts a picture at a different location, we can find out where he's going, where is he at. We can track him. So by leaving up his site, thinking it hasn't been taken down, but we block it from view from the public, he will keep posting, and we can find out from the background of the video where's his location, where has he been. So I'm former law enforcement. I do not believe taking down someone's site right away. I want to know where that guy is. Leave his site up, but block it from the public. Turn it into a private thing. Okay, so others can't see it. So you preserve the everything you have, and you build up on the evidence. You don't take everything down. What you do is you block access from the public from viewing it, but still leave up the thing so they think that people are looking at it. This encourages them to post more. You can find out their location just from the video. You can find out where they're at and everything. But anyways, he was not found in Cleveland. He was found in Pennsylvania. So here's the videos. And like all other times, MSM is wrong. These liberals are dumb because you don't destroy evidence. You preserve it. You encourage the person to keep streaming until he's caught. Then, after you get all the evidence, he's captured, you can take down the site. Thank you for watching.
Continue following breaking news in Cleveland and news out of Erie, Pennsylvania, that the Facebook killer, Steve Stevens, killed himself after a confrontation with Pennsylvania State police officers. Right now, a news conference is about to begin in Cleveland.
Okay, good
we
afternoon.
have the police chief there and the mayor. Let's listen in.
Update relative to the Steve Stevens, the Facebook shooter case this afternoon. Please bear in mind that this investigation is in the very early stages, and though we will take questions, there's still some information to be gathered. Speaking this afternoon will be Mayor Frank Jackson, Chief Calvin Williams, Special Agent in charge of the Cleveland office of the FBI, Steve Anthony, and Pete Elliott, U.S. Marshal. Mayor.
Well, we have closure in regards to the search for Steve Stevens. The chief and the other law enforcement will give you the details of that. I want to, again, give our condolence to the family, the Godwin family, and all of its members, and really, again, thank them for the way in which they've handled this very tragic situation, not only for them personally, but for the community as large. Also want to thank the community. There was a lot of support from the community, not only in terms of the family, but in terms of the law enforcement efforts and the kind of information and tips that we were given. And I want to thank our partners, the federal, state, county, local, and other state law enforcement agencies that helped in this regard. And finally, I want to emphasize the fact that this particular incident received a lot of attention, and rightfully so, because it was a loss of innocence, an innocent victim. We, however, have many homicides, not only in Cleveland, but throughout this nation. And ultimately, I believe one of the things this has taught us, that we cannot resolve this underlying issues of violence, particularly gun violence, if we do not function and operate and have the same compassion and commitment that we've shown here as a community. And finally, I want to thank you as the media. You were very helpful to us in keeping things straight, keeping the facts straight, reporting the stories in a way that that really helped us to be able to do our job. So, Chief.
Thanks, Mayor. I want to officially announce that the search for Steve Stevens has ended. At approximately a little bit after 11 today, Pennsylvania State Police officers received a tip that the vehicle that we were looking for, the white Ford Fusion, was in a McDonald's parking lot near Erie, PA. Those officers responded. The vehicle fled from that area. There was a short pursuit in which the vehicle was stopped. As the officers approached that vehicle, Steve Stevens took his own life. We are grateful to the people that gave this tip to the Pennsylvania State Police. We're grateful that this has ended. We would prefer that it had not ended this way, because there are a lot of questions, I'm sure, that not only the family but the city in general would have had for Steve as to why this transpired. Again, our condolences are still with the family of Mr. Godwin, and you've all heard them on the news lately. They were forgiven.
There you have the police chief in Cleveland. We heard earlier from the mayor reacting to the news that a very dangerous and disturbed man is now gone. We'll have more on this story on CBS 4 News at 5.
Teresa Payton. She is also the CEO of you know what, Teresa, I'm going to get you to say the name of your company right there.
Sure, Fortalus Solutions.
Fortalus Solutions. Thank you so much, Teresa. So, you know, the thing about this particular case, I think that people found particularly disturbing was the fact that the suspect uploaded the murder to Facebook. When you heard about that, tell me what came to mind for you.
I was horrified. I was horrified for the victims, families, as well as for anybody who accidentally saw the video. As we all know, there are young people, and this could be very tough on them. And it also spells out the fact that social media still does not really have the personnel to focus on taking down whether it's hate speech or a murder or someone threatening to commit suicide and do murders. There's not a fast enough response time. And that video was present for 3 hours before Facebook took it down. And who knows how many, people saw that really did not need to see that type of information, as well as, other potential, people thinking about doing a copycat scenario. So this is one of those things where all social media platforms really need to pay attention and have some lessons learned come out of what just happened this week.
Yeah, Teresa, I want to talk a little bit about that, but I want you to just hang tight for a little bit. Dean Reynolds is on the phone. Dean was in the room when the press conference was taking place. Dean, what can you tell us?
Well, we know that this thing went down because of a tip from someone calling the Pennsylvania State Police. It happened around 11 o'clock. The Ford Fusion, the white Ford Fusion that the police here had alerted everyone that the suspect could be driving, was spotted in Erie, Pennsylvania, or near Erie, Pennsylvania, in a McDonald's parking lot. The state police arrived on the scene in a cruiser and gave chase briefly as the suspect, Steve Stevens, fled the parking lot. They approached the car when it came to a halt, but before the troopers could get to the car, Stevens had shot and killed himself. I asked, did he shoot himself in the head? They didn't know, but they did say at the press conference that he died on the scene. Now, this raises an abundance of questions that they don't have the answers for, like what has he been doing for the last 2 days? You'll recall that there was a ping from his cell phone picked up a couple of days ago after the shooting in the Erie area, and they had been focusing a lot of attention on that area, even though they have received more than 400 tips from around the country and engaged the services of several federal agencies across the country as well. But it was the Erie, Pennsylvania area that was apparently the focus of this from almost the earliest moments. Now, why the Erie, Pennsylvania? Why did he drive to Erie? We don't know. They don't know. They haven't been able to figure that out yet. And, of course, now that the suspect is dead, this may prove more and more difficult.
Indeed. Dean Reynolds, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed. Teresa, I want to talk to you about this cell phone ping. I think it will surprise people that with the sort of number of ways we are tracked electronically, that after hearing the ping, it was still so difficult to find him. I know if I pick up my phone now and look at my Facebook page, it'll tell me where many of my friends are. If my friends are close by, it'll let me know. A lot of these dating apps like Tinder will let you know if someone is close by that you might be interested in. It seems like we are so wired nowadays that it's pretty hard to get lost, but clearly not in this case.
Yeah, there's a couple factors that come into play here. The first one is to protect the privacy of law-abiding citizens. There's a framework that law enforcement has to follow. They have to file the proper paperwork, make the request to the cell phone company, the internet company, and they have to follow a protocol and get aligned with the other cases that are going on. Obviously, this particular case, a fugitive running from the law, from a murder that he put, alleged murder, but obviously it's on, it's videotaped and memorialized, unfortunately, for 3 hours on Facebook. So in this particular case, what's interesting and what people need to realize is the whole pinging of a cell phone tower. What you need to think about that is, yes, that cell phone tower is a stationary object, but unless there are other cell phone towers close by where you can start to triangulate the location, all you know is that that cell phone was in that general area. So the next thing you need to do is find the other cell phone towers in the area to see, do I have movement or do I have a stationary cell phone? And by the time that information was being fed to law enforcement, is the device still on the person, and is that person in the wind at this point? But this is a case where they got that ping. Then they were able to deploy air assets, ground assets, put out the BOLOs, be on the lookout for, and the APBs, the all points bulletins, and be able to sort of deploy assets with a pretty good idea that at least the device was there, and where the device was, most likely so was Steve Stevens. So that can really help. The other piece that they have at their disposal, which may have come into play here based on what we're hearing, are license plate readers. And the fact that he did not ditch his car. If he stayed on main roads, there are installed stationary license plate readers along turnpikes and things. If he went to country roads, that's when you might go to mobile license plate readers. And law enforcement, in some cases, has them in their cars. And so they can run a plate against a massive database and say, gosh, this could be the plate. And that may have come into play here with that traffic stop and the little bit of details we know about his, sort of deciding to commit suicide after that brief interaction with law enforcement.
Yeah, and they did make a really big deal, out of describing the vehicle, but also saying that there were temporary plates, and you would think all along the way there would be cameras that could pick up on this stuff. Don't know how he got to Erie, Pennsylvania, but you'd probably have to go through some toll booths, I would think, and I mean, we don't know what police knew when they knew it. Maybe there's more information that they haven't revealed to us. But, we were talking earlier about this uploading of this video to Facebook and how it was up for a while, long enough for many people to watch it and many people to then forward it and share it before they could pull it down. Give me a sense of just how difficult of a challenge it is for Facebook to grab this stuff early on and pull it down.
It's a huge challenge. We work cases all the time with businesses and individuals who have been wronged by somebody else or had an account takeover by somebody else, and things are being posted not authorized by them. And it can take often days before pages are returned to the rightful owner or material is removed. And this has to be a wake-up call for all social media companies to ask themselves, okay, we have a real event that occurred. This is not going to be the last. So therefore, what is our process going to be? Will we allow the user community to escalate and notify us that there is something? It's not just objectionable. It's not just potentially hate speech. This is a murder. This is someone committing suicide. And get it to human beings and eyeballs that can actually view the information that's been flagged by the user community and make the call to take it down. In the case of this, where it was up for 3 hours, time is of the essence. That is not an acceptable turnaround time. And so this is not just Facebook's issue. This is all social media. And every CEO of these companies needs to take a lesson out of today and what happened and out of the tragedy this week and change their protocol.
Right. Teresa Payton, your company is Fortalice Solutions. You are a cybersecurity expert. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge.
Thanks for having me on, and my prayers and thoughts go out to everyone who was impacted by this, especially the Godwin family.
So the reason why Steven Stevens was caught was from a person that was watching social media. And they went see him at McDonald's So they thought that was Steven Stevens. So what they did is they looked on their social media. I don't know if it was Facebook or YouTube. They did not state which one it was, but they looked up to see the guy's profile. They noticed that that is the same guy. So what they did is they called the police and told them that he's at the McDonald's. Okay, so the mainstream media tried to interview these people and try to find out where did they see the thing to make comparison. And when they said social media, the mainstream media got upset, and they're like, "Well, they're being credited again." But more and more people are looking on social media, and mainstream media is not liking it one bit. So that's why this last video that you've seen, they're attacking social media. And the thing is, my videos came from mainstream media. It was an edited version. I did not use no raw footage. So nobody posted anything of the raw footage. They all went to uh, the edited part. And if you did use the raw footage, YouTube took it down. And I want to praise YouTube on this because they did take down raw footage of it. If you posted anything raw, they took you down. Facebook, I do not know. I don't go on Facebook that much. But I know YouTube did a great job on taking down people showing raw footage. Now, you got people on there saying, well, kids could have seen it. Not too much, because kids don't go on Facebook that much. But anyways, I have put that out there that the tipster people, the ones that's going to win, that is going to get the $50,000, seen and compared the image of the guy off of off social media. And right now, mainstream media is having a field day with this because they are mad.